Hey, what's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about what I would do if I was starting brand new, buying from eBay and then selling on Amazon. This is what I do for a full-time living. This is my business model. Today I'm going to dig into a new category that I haven't dug into very much, and I'm going to be showing you the process of doing it. And I probably will be selling some of these products if I end up finding them in the future. So stick around and I'll be teaching you how to do this. And if you like these types of videos, feel free to subscribe, and I will be putting out more videos like this, teaching you guys how to do sales on Amazon. So stick around. So one thing that we're going to want to do as we start is we want an Excel sheet where we can keep track of all of the ASINs that we have. The ASINs are basically like the Amazon page identification number, so that we can keep track of it. We're going to have all these stats so that we can make buying choices easier. And as we're sourcing, we're going to have all this filled out so we can know exactly what we're dealing with. We're going to talk about how we can know how many we need to stock up per month, and we're going to talk about that sales velocity. And then another thing we're going to do as we get started is we're going to want to pick a category. For this video, I'm going to end up digging a little bit into the camera and photo category. There's a couple things I'm curious about. So if there's something like that that you're curious about, it might be a good idea to dig into that category. But we're going to dig into camera and photo. So we're going to get started by going to camera and photo. We'll look in this category. We're just going to assume that you don't know anything about like what's gated, what's an issue or anything. So we're just going to go through and look at some products. So we're just going to start writing down some brands in our sheet. So we're seeing Dell here. We're seeing GoPro. A good tool that we're going to want to have also is IP alerts. So we'll talk about that in a second, but we're just going to write down some brands for now. So Nikon. So we're just going to write down these ideas. We'll talk about IP alert in a second, but basically don't sell. There's some brands like Dell that's just going to be higher risk. We'll talk about that in a second. There's also going to be some brands you're gated in, like Canon, but we're just going to, you don't know that. Like, you'll figure that out later. Instax, I've never heard of them. Yeah, so we have a couple brands here. That's a great place to start. Basically, IP Alert is a extension that you can put on your computer that when you go to the Amazon listing, you're gonna see a record that someone has received an IP claim from them. General rule of thumb is probably best to stay away from those brands. Dell usually pops up as that. I'll show you an example here in a second as we start to search some of these, but we're just going to go on Amazon and type these brands in. It's interesting though, Dell is not really a camera thing, so we're just going to scratch that out. GoPro, I don't know if we can really sell GoPro stuff. I have a feeling that it's IP claim territory, but we'll see. Yeah, see the little, yeah. So that comes up. Just for safety reasons and complexity reasons, we'll stay away from that. How about Nikon? I mean, people still sell it probably and might be okay, but I'm just going to stay away from that for now. Nikon. Just going to kind of see what comes up. Yeah, so this is what we often want to do. So you can look at all these options here. So Nikon. So see how when we type in a brand, it just auto-populates a bunch of this stuff? These are ideas for what we can be buying and selling. Canon, we'll just go ahead and do that so you can see the experience of knowing that you're gated. So you'll click in here. If you have RevSeller, it's going to show you like this. And if you have the seller app, you'll end up typing Canon in, and on all the listings, you're going to see that you require ungating. For now, you'll just stay away from that, and you can get ungated later if you want to. But eventually, this RevSeller is going to pop up. It's going to show that I'm gated. Yeah, so here it's going to show that it requires approval. What you can do is you can click into that, and you can click into that and see if you get auto ungated. But for now, you're gated. So this is kind of interesting. You can click in here. Rakuten sometimes tells you that there's a source somewhere. 395. Interesting. I don't know why it says that. There's probably some discount. But anyway, sometimes Rakuten comes up and pops up that you can get it from somewhere. Yeah, but the whole point was Canon is gated. We can go back to Instax. I'm curious if that's a private label brand. Ooh, that could be good. It looks like there's a used market for that item. Yeah, so we'll give that a look. Fujifilm, Instax, Mini 11. And we'll do the same thing as we did before. So we're not quite specific enough, but we could go with maybe a film printer. Ooh, that looks very fun. Oh, it's a bundle though, of course. So what happens with this, just random piece of knowledge, is sometimes people are smart and they bundle something with another thing in order to make it harder to actually sell correctly. Sometimes they'll bundle it with a private label item. But yeah, so for now, we don't have the infrastructure for that. So we stay away from the renewed ones because we don't have it removed. There's a lot of bundles here. But we can just do this. See if anything comes up. We could just do this. Pikachu. So you can just kind of keep. Oh, and then here's another way we can also do it. So if we kind of like this idea, we can just go here, click in here, and we can start to look at things that are similar to that. So we could look into all these variations, and probably down here as we scroll down, we're going to end up seeing things that are similar, or they're going to suggest things that are similar to this. So here we're seeing we could also buy the Mini 9 instead of the Mini 11. We could also buy the, well, this one's renewed, but we'll try the Mini 9. So basically this, except it's the 9. And we could look into this, kind of see what pops up. We're getting Panasonic stuff. So we could write down these ideas. I mean, this is a nice high-priced item. Personally, I haven't done too many cameras, but we could at least look into it and see if it makes sense for us. So Panasonic Lumix DC-70S. Very similar, except it's the FZ 80. This is a nice expensive one that also moves fast. It's the G95. Yep, so I mean, we got a solid stack of ideas that we can be looking into here. The thing that I'll probably look into next is these, because these seem like they will be technically easier to use and not going to break as easily. If you know about cameras and know how to make sure that they work, you could look into these and these. But I mean, I personally just feel comfortable here. So you could go with what you feel comfortable with, or you could just be like, well, we're going to make more money because less people are going to want to do these more complicated things. So we will see. But for the sake of the video, we'll look into these next. So we're going to start out by looking at the 9 and the 11. So we're going to go ahead and put both of those into Amazon and take a look at those. We also see that there's a, okay, well, this one has the film with it, so we're going to pass on that one. We're going to check out the 11 as well. So we're going to wait for both of the pages to load. But basically here we see that there's a lot of different colors that we can buy here. And I'm assuming, yeah, there's a few different ones on this one as well. They're all very similar in price. It looks like Amazon's selling this used. By the warehouse, they're probably selling returns. And same here as well. Here's the velocity on these once RevSeller loads. All right, so to restart here, it's funny that we were looking in camera, but we're going to end up in electronics. So yeah, these are very low ranked. They're both very popular items. We see that the ranks, like both of these are just going to fly. And so the margins might be kind of smaller, but we're going to take a look and see. So looking at the Keepa for something like this, Amazon's in stock a lot of the time. There's a very regular used market on these. So just like looking even at the last couple days, it looks like an average is somewhere in the ballpark of $55 to $60. By the time we come in with Prime, it'll probably be around 60. So we're just going to call this 60. Then we're going to go over here to this one. This is the 9. And this is the ice blue, but there's a bunch of different variations. So with variations for both of these, we're going to want to do a different way of seeing how fast the item moves that we'll go to in a second. But first, we're going to see how much these items tend to be selling for based on the Keepa. So in the last 3 months here, I should probably explain this in case you guys don't know. But what we're looking at here for the used price, this black line, we just click that off. At a very basic level, this black line is the used price. That's like the lowest used price. There's a used like new, there's used very good, there's used good, used acceptable. We're also going to be selling for Prime, so we're going to be end up selling for higher than this lowest price here. Kind of like a medium price here is probably in the ballpark of like 50, 53 to, oh no, let's see. Kind of a high price is like 53. Between 53 and 50. So we'll just call this, I don't know, like 52. So we'll go ahead and throw this in at 52. So basically in both of these situations, we see here that if we can buy it for less than this 50, we're going to make money. And if we can buy it less than this 42, we can make money. So this is why it's helpful sometimes to be on higher ticket items, because by the time an eBay seller like pays for the shipping and sells their item and gets the transaction, it's going to end up being some money. So like if we were to get this for like $40, it's not as helpful because like we need both parties to like make their money, you know? So we're still going to look into these. The Fujifilm Instamax, I can't say this item, but the 9, the mini 9. So we're going to go into the Excel and we're going to just start with that one and start entering information here. So we said that we can list it for that 52. It nets us 42. The ASIN is up here. So if we want to get this, let's say we are willing to do 35%, maybe it's around 31. So the profit on this is going to be $11 if we were to get it for 31. And then we can do the same thing for this one. We'll go ahead and put the ASIN in here. This is the purple. Change the font. Ew, I don't like that. We'll just go ahead and copy and paste this and say it's the 11. Purple. And so this, we list it like $60. We net around $50. And then if we want to get it for this 35%, maybe it's like 40, 35, 37. Yeah, so 37. And we'll end up making 13 in profit. So then what we would do is we would take these items and we would see if we can get them profitably on eBay. So what we'll try here is we will take this, go into eBay, all categories. So we're looking for 37. So oftentimes there aren't any available right now, but what we can see is if any have sold in the past for this. So we're going to go ahead to go to sold items. We'll go to lowest. So that one's for parts. It looks like this one sold for well under our 40. This one sold for 30. This one even had the manual and some extra film. This is a whole set. That looks not super into that. But yeah, I mean, we're seeing here that like it's possible to get it for under this 37. So like even if we got it for 35, that's 43%. If we got it for this 30, that's $30 and 19 profit and 66% ROI. So it's basically a matter of like adding these items to the list. I probably wouldn't say, I would probably enter a rarity, like how often I'm legitimately going to find this. Probably not that often, but you could sometimes find this. And then we could go ahead and do the same thing with the other one. Such a long 𝗖cie. Yeah, so we said that we could get this, sell this at 52. We'll go in here. We said that we could sell these for 60, right? Yeah, 60. And 37 is the price that we're looking for. Yeah, so 37. Wait, no, we're on the 9. Okay, so the 9, it actually sells for 52. We want to buy these for 31. Yeah, so we want to see if we can find these for 31. Take this, put it into eBay. We do the exact same thing. We're seeing the solds, so around the 9. This is for parts. We don't want for parts. Parts refurbished. So it looks like someone had an auction and this person got it for 20 bucks. So they got some nice ROI. They're gonna get $22 profit if they were to sell this. This is $22. Yeah, so I mean, there's at least a few that people are buying for this. That's 28. I mean, this is something that you could find every once in a while at least. I'd probably say this is like a low, medium maybe. Yeah, and so for the sake of example, next we're going to look into the higher priced items and see what we can find with those. All right, so next we're going to look into some of these more expensive items here. Just for example, do we want to go with these or with these? I feel better about these, so let's give this a go. So we can get to this listing. I'm going to open up a couple tabs and just look at a couple of these at the same time. All right, so we can continue again. So we're seeing on this page that there are some variations here. So when we go in and find sales velocity, we're gonna want to keep that in mind. But for now, we're just looking at all these pages. Oh, interesting. So it looks like this will probably happen to you as well. Sometimes you're just gonna be gated and stuff. So what we can try and do is just go ahead and click in there and see if we can get auto and gated. So sometimes it'll just let you sell it, and it looks like that's the case right here. It helps to have your account metrics in good standing and have some sales under your belt, and that's just how it goes. But it looks like I am ungated in that, which is pretty cool. But then it'll still say requires approval, but then it'll just let you do it again. Just to confirm, it should let me do it again. Cool. Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're going to dig into these. All of these are actually electronics, which is interesting that we ended up ending in electronics instead of camera. All right, so like this, we were saying that there's variations. I'll just go ahead and show you how to do the variations now and how to do the sales velocity. This video is kind of all over the place, but if you watch the whole way through, we're going to figure out how to do this together. So we're just going to enter the stats on these. All right, so as far as the restock estimation, so first of all, we're going to go to this Jungle Scout estimator. We're going to pick the category. We're in electronics right now. And then we're going to go back to this page and see that it's a 27K rank. The averages are lower. I'd probably just go with this. So around 24K. So see how many sales a 24K gets per month as the whole listing together. It's around 60. So what we want to do here is from there, we need to see what percentage of that 60 is this, because that 60 is for all of these variations together. So we can go into Keepa. We can take a look at the variations, and we can filter by which one is getting the most reviews. So we're back on this page, and we're currently looking at the 𝗬𝗏70S. So 𝗬𝗏70S. So that one looks like it's been getting around 18%, and this one's getting 6%. So we can assume that if for the whole listing, it's getting 18% of the reviews, and so therefore it should get around 18% of the sales. You can't be 100% sure on this, but it's just a way to get like a little ballpark of how many we should be buying of this item. So 60 times 18%, it's around 10 sales a month for this listing. And we see here that there are around 7 people currently selling this right now. So now we need to see how many of these people are actually competitive. Because if they have this $300 camera priced at like $700, they're not competitive, and they're not going to get any sales. So this person is the buy box right now, so they would be 1. This used good is another one. This is also competitive. This is also competitive. This is also competitive. And this is competitive. This one's probably not. So that's 6 people that are competitive, and then we'll come in and be the 7th. So it's really 10 divided by 7. So safely, I would probably assume that we would probably get a sale once a month. That would probably be my test buy. This one's not going to be a flyer, but it's a good place to start. So I would probably type in there 1+ test, and then I'd go ahead and fill out that information, and I'll be back once the information is filled out for the other videos. Actually, I changed my mind. We're going to go ahead and fill out all this information together. That way you guys know how to do it, and that way you guys can continue to take ideas like this and fill them out completely yourself so that you can start to be looking for these items. So we're going to just do this for this item. We're going to take a look at the pricing here. If I remember right, there's a guy at $330 right now, $330 plus 6. $330 seems pretty high. Based on the last 3 months, that's like high end. But it's very consistent. There's usually a $330 or a $335 anyways. We'll just go ahead and put our price in at $335. That's fine. So if we sell for $335, we're going to end up netting $300. So we put that in the net category. And then if we are wanting to make 35% profit, maybe on this since it's slower, we'll go for 40. We'll try and get it for like 240. No, less than that. 43. Yeah, so maybe we'll try 215. And then if we were to get this for 215, we would make $85 profit once the camera actually sells. And like we were saying, it's not going to be the fastest seller. It should sell within 1 to 2 months probably. Also, another thing to consider is that Amazon is on the listing. So I wouldn't expect this to fly, but eventually I think it will sell within that 1 to 2 months of being active. So we're going to make $85 profit if we sell this camera. And we would want to only get one of these. We'll just leave that. We have 0, and this is 40%. I remember these were 35%, 35%, 0, 0. We haven't gone through that. $0. Okay. We also haven't looked on Amazon, on eBay for these yet. So what we'll do is we'll take this, but we're going to look on eBay for these. Right, so we're looking for this under 215. We're gonna go ahead and do lowest first. That's an auction, so like legit, I'm probably gonna watch that. But it looks like most everything else is like pretty expensive here. Yeah. And then we're gonna check the solds like we did with the other one and see if anyone has been sniping this. Looks like someone got one for 150, 190. And so like we want to make sure that it's actually the same model. We'd have to click in and look at it. But it looks like two people like made off with bank, because this is like, this is that's a nice 100% 150. That's pretty good. Yeah, so that's something, it happens every once in a while. All the other ones are higher than what we're looking for. This one, it looks like that one was like in the box too. But that's like 240. So that one's going to be, I mean, you could do that, but it's not as good. Especially with a new item, I'd probably want the margin to be a little higher than 25% to start. So this one I would probably, my hypothetical, I would probably call it rare. And then now we're going to look at the sales velocity of these. If I remember right, these are also going to be variation listings. So we're going to be doing the same variation calculation that we did before. Oh, and I didn't fill out the rank range. Basically, we need the Keepa to load. Keepa variations. So this is the lilac color. But variations, looking in here, we see that actually the purple one does get the majority of the sales for this listing. Kind of all pretty evenly split. But this one, thankfully, is a much faster item. So like even 800 in electronics is just going to fly. So this time we get to do 28% of 2300. And of course, this is always a ballpark. This isn't 100%. But hypothetically, this listing should be getting in the ballpark of 600 sales a month. And like, it's not stock that deep for how many sales this gets. So let's take a look at the competitive sellers here. So first of all, it looks like Amazon's on this. Yeah, so Amazon's on this. And then Amazon's also selling it used as well. They're selling returns, it looks like. So, I mean, definitely Amazon's going to take a lot of that. Yeah, so there's people waiting for Amazon to go out of stock, it looks like. Yeah, and nobody's even trying to cut Amazon. There's one guy selling used. There's Amazon. There's another guy. Another guy. Another guy. Another guy. Probably a little too high. Yeah, so I wouldn't test this super deep. I would test a couple and just see how it goes. Because Amazon is in stock and they are selling used ones. I mean, we see that they have one in stock, but we don't know exactly how many they're going to end up having in stock. Yeah, it's very hard to know exactly, but I probably wouldn't do more than like 10. And I have a feeling on this one that we're going to end up not being able to even stock 10, but we'll just try this. Cool. And so we'll go ahead and do that with the other ones. Click this here. So this one has all the variations. All right, so getting back to it, we'll look in the Keepa. We'll go to variations again. We're on this ice blue one. We're going to go to variations, ice blue. Wow, and that one actually gets the most out of this whole listing. And like, there's definitely money to be made if we dig into each and every one of these. Like, we're not even scratching the surface with this video, and this video is going to end up being extremely long. But like, there's so many places to dig with this. And it also looks like Amazon's not even on a lot of these. Yeah, so 32%. Somewhere in the ballpark of 32%. We got 1,800 in electronics. This is going to be less. So 1,200 times 32. So somewhere in the ballpark of 300 to 400 sales. And then we're going to take a look at who's actually competitive and is Amazon on this. So it looks like Amazon is they're They're on it just about all the time, but they don't have buy box, which is interesting, besides for used. We're going to take a look at who's competitive here. We're going to do it for both the new and the used offers here. Wow, I always see their pop up in the Rakuten. They're a big store. Wow. So we're looking at new. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Probably 8 competitive people new. And then used. 9, 10, 11, maybe 12, 13 people. If this guy ever goes heavy, though, I feel like he'll get a lot of buy box, and Amazon's also going to get a lot of buy box as well. So it's another one of those where there's a lot of sales on this, but like the biggest sellers, Amazon and like huge other sellers, are going to get a lot of it. So again, like I probably wouldn't stock much deeper than 10. And at the same time, I doubt that we'll be able to even stock 10. But it's possible. So basically, this is how you fill out the data for all this so that you can make quick buying decisions. You can also fill out the rank range. So for this one that we were just looking at, it's basically always 1700 somehow. So we'll just say that. And the other one, I think it was 18,000 to 26,000. And then this one was, I thought it was like 27K. Just for the sake of time, we're just entering it in like this, not re-entering things. Yep, so basically what we do from here, we have all this data here that's just ready for us to go and continue looking for these items. What we can do is we can regularly be searching eBay for these items, and you're going to want to have a system in place so that you can be looking for these items. I would probably check it at least every day. I would filter by newest listings so that this can actually work so that you can actually find the items. So basically this is a tutorial of how we break into a category and get some ideas. We still have a ton of ideas to look into. We haven't looked through any of the variations for any of these. So basically you first want to fill out all this information and like figure out what would be good to sell if you could find it profitably, and then confirm with the eBay solds that people have been selling it profitably in the past. And then you're going to want to be looking through your list every single day, filtering by newly listed in order to find these items profitably. And if this was helpful for you and helped you get a better idea of how to source eBay to Amazon and how to get started and how to have those ideas start to flow, because we have so many ideas here to look into that I'll probably be looking into later, feel free to subscribe and like the video. And thanks for watching and have a great day.